Hey Tim, it's Klaxoon.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Klaxoon Live. My name is Emily, and I'll be your host today. Most of you are familiar with the Klaxoon Live concept, but for those joining us today, well, welcome. During the next half hour, we'll be sharing how some of our Klaxoon users have successfully adopted our set of solutions within their workday. Today, we'll be focusing on weekly team workshops with Suzanne. Suzanne is a talent management director for an oil and gas company in the US. Welcome, Suzanne. Nice to see you.
Oh, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Thank you for having me.
Throughout the conversation and this live, we encourage you to ask questions either on Zoom or on the LinkedIn Live feed. We'll do our best to answer them at the end of the live session. To help us facilitate with the Q&A, I'm also pleased to welcome Hélène. Hélène is part of our customer success team at Klaxoon. Hello, Hélène.
Hi, Emily. Happy to be here. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Make sure you stick around until the very end because Hélène will also show us how to quickly get started with Klaxoon from our website and help us locate the templates that Suzanne is going to demonstrate today. But for those who may not know what Klaxoon is yet, let me briefly tell you what we're about. Klaxoon is the world's only workshop platform that helps organizations shift to a workshop mindset. Workshops is considered a more efficient way to get things done as a team. So this is why at Klaxoon, we have designed a range of solutions and services that empowers organizations to run those effective workshops. It's done very simply from anywhere at any time with nothing to install. Klaxoon effectively engage teams in a hybrid environment. We help with client meetings, project management, team sync, which is what we're going to discuss today with Suzanne. We will help you lead to more and better decision-making done collectively. But all right, I think it's time to get started. Suzanne, I'd love to hear a little bit about you and maybe your role within the organization.
I lead a talent management team, and we do quite a bit from leadership, professional skills development, performance management, organizational design. Also have members on my team that do talent acquisition. And we certainly have in the talent space is the session planning, development planning. So we impact the entire organization.
Great to hear. But before we jump in and talk about those weekly workshops that you implemented, I'd love to start at the beginning. Why did you decide to choose Klaxoon at the first place? What were the challenges you were trying to solve?
So the reason I picked Klaxoon or went to Klaxoon is I was actually at a major conference. It was the Association for Talent Development, and it was an annual conference. And I bumped into another colleague and said, you need to check this out. And so Klaxoon had a booth there, and they had a whiteboard. They showed how to use it. I got to play with it. But the thing, we do a lot of design thinking and do a lot of brainstorming and facilitate workshops. So the fact that we could do Post-it notes virtually and move them around and then capture it right then, that was one of the things that really hit me. And as I continued to follow Klaxoon, wanted to get it, but it took until late last year, so early or in this year to get it because of info security. Having the servers now in the United States really enabled us to get it and go, and that removed all objections from our IT group.
Great. I'm glad we were able to make this work for you. That's great to hear. So I want to jump right in and, look into what you've done using Klaxoon with your team. Would you mind sharing your screen with us?
Mhm.
Great.
Happy to. And hopefully you're able to see that full screen.
Yes, I can see it. I hope our viewers can as well.
And really, I started using, there's a lot of templates in Klaxoon. I mean, I was impressed, there's over 100. And when I found this OT meeting, and when I went through the orientation for Klaxoon, the gentleman showed this, and I thought, well, we could use this because we were currently, as I was pulling the team together every week, I was just taking notes in OneNote, and it felt more one way than conversational and involving my team. And we would talk about what our accomplishments were for the team, but we also, what was the look ahead, and also were there any obstacles, barriers that we were running into. So when I saw this, it was a way for the team to actually get involved. And what I found, I would schedule an hour for a team meeting, and I found once I started doing this, I scheduled 45 minutes, and we actually can get through business in around 35, 38 minutes. So we have time to either further connect, share other things that come up within a team that you want to get out. So we actually get more done in less time. Also with creating the key here, what are accomplishments? What are our focus for the week? They can do that ahead of time because they always have access to the board. So they can put those up there, and they wind up, as they're sharing, they can add to it rather than reading what's on the Post-it note. So they're a lot more concise in sharing what they've accomplished and what's in front of them for the current week. And then it's also an opportunity for me just to point out some announcements for the week, just general information that they need to know. Also, they can have a good time with this. We're in Texas, so there's a few Aggie fans out there, and so we get added on pictures. The funny part is this gentleman actually played football for the University of Alabama, so that they tease each other quite a bit, and they have a nice, safe opportunity where they can do that.
That's great. So from what you've been telling me, it looked like not only you use a template to run the workshop live, and you've cut the time in half pretty much, right? But you also use it asynchronously, letting your team prepare ahead of time and for you to read and digest the information, right?
That's correct. It's and I'm talking less on these meetings, so it's much more even with the team talking, as well as they're a lot more engaged because they're talking more. When I look at the numbers and look at the engagement, it's extremely high. And as I also found that I don't have to work as hard. You set up the template, and it takes care of itself.
That's great. So I also noticed from what you just said that you also take advantage of our data insights, where we can pretty much view after a workshop the amount of participation, the number of ideas posted by the team, to be able to measure the success of those weekly workshops, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Great to hear. Great. So I'm guessing you feel like they're sharing more with you from a previous meeting format, right?
They're sharing more. It's less follow-up, because what I would do with OneNote, I would take that note and I would share, here's the link for the OneNote site, but I would also copy it and send it to them. I don't have to do that now. They always have access, and if someone's out for the week, or is out that day, they can always go back and see what the team talked about. And if they're going to be out, they can add, what their notes are ahead of time, so everyone can see what that team member has going on.
Excellent. And I wanted to ask you, Suzanne, more concretely, you may be using an integration tool, maybe Teams, right? From what I've understood?
We are. Yes, Klaxoon is an app that works with Teams. And when we first got Teams and I was looking through the apps, I saw Klaxoon and I thought, oh, that would be awesome if we could get this. And it works very easily. I just share the screen as we're on the Teams meeting, and it's seamless.
Great. And you've mentioned that you are working from the office, but you're sometimes organizing the workshop with people connecting remotely, right?
Yes, it could be this meeting, or there are other meetings that I'll conduct that we have individuals that are across the United States, or also we operate in Canada as well.
Oh, great to know. Okay. I'd love to dig in. I noticed a few color coding on the templates. Can you tell me a little bit whether it corresponds to anything, any guidance for the board?
So our key is over on the left. So the green Post-it notes mean this is what I accomplished in the past week. The blue is this is the focus for the week ahead. Our meetings are on Monday. And then the orange are difficulties, obstacles that they may be facing, may need other team members help with. Or, hey, what are some places I could look in order to get this resolved? And then pink is those notes in the announcements, or just, informational, here's an announcement.
Okay, great. And for those who may not know really how to use the board, posting an idea is very easy. You just have to click on the plus button and just choose your color code, right, Suzanne? It's pretty easy to adopt.
Yep, and I can change a note, I can add a note, and I hit the paper airplane and I'm good to go.
Excellent. Well, thanks for sharing this weekly team workshop template with us. I just wanted to ask you finally, I believe you picked a template, which is the weekly available on our library, but you still tweaked it and customized it to your needs, right?
Yes. And what I have found is, I can play with different ideas. So one of the things that I just added this week and introduced to the team was, what cool stories, links, articles they want to share. And so I just introduced that this week, because I find they'll bring up things that are going on in the industry. They'll bring up, hey, did anyone hear about this particular situation? Or they'll say, I just stumbled on this particular article, thought it was relevant. So that's where they can post that information, and, they can do it at any time.
Great. Thank you for sharing. I know we discussed a little bit prior to this live, and you actually showed me another template that you put together, and I believe it involved leaders, about 15 of them across your organization. I'd love to look at it into further detail, if that's okay with you.
Sure. Let me go back to, let me minimize this, and I need to go back to basically what I call my home screen. And so we had as I said, we do leadership development. And one of the things that we wanted to do was, how do we pull in leaders from the organization to design the right thing for managers and senior managers? And I'll make this bigger. But we had, and the nice thing, you can make it bigger, you can move it around as I'm doing. And I'll go ahead and I'll make it full screen, but I will move it so you can see.
Thank you.
These were a number of directors from within the US and Canada, in the corporate office, but also in the field. And we first started with a brainstorm, and this is a design thinking template that I took, Rosebud Thorn, and modified it. So we wanted to start with a brainstorm question to find out, what's effective leadership development, what are the concerns, what are positive things. And we did a brainstorm. They did their brainstorm, and then we categorized them and with Rosebud Thorn, and I could put a key here. as to what the roses mean, what the buds mean, what the thorns mean. And then they went back and we categorized them, rosebud, thorn. And then I could go through after that and I could then put them into bigger categories. Was it reinforcement? What do we want outcomes to be? Skills? So starting with that, that was our first session. Our next session, we then went into, I call them the 4 questions. And so then I'll just hone in on one of them. So these are mid-level leaders, what skills are critical for them. And I use the yellow Post-it note for this grouping. And it was a big brainstorm and I had 4 buckets. And so they could brainstorm what they thought for what skills were critical. So we did skills, we did behaviors, we did what outcomes and what we thought would get in the way. And as we built that out, then you can see like coaching was a big subject that came up, was a big theme. And so I could group them into themes. I could take this back to this working group and their other, directors, and I could go back with them and then compare and say, okay, did we capture this correctly? And they confirmed yes. So we designed the training, took the content from that, and it took us roughly 4 months to actually launch this. And it turned out very successfully. We had directors that were a part of this. 3 of the members said, I want to be in the pilot for this, and I want a number of my team members in the pilot. And they had great feedback for them, but they told us what they wanted. We gave them what they needed, and it worked out. It worked out amazingly well.
That's great to hear. It really looks like, every senior leaders had really an active part in the designing of the program, and it actually led to a better outcome at the end.
It did. They felt heard, and one of the other things that we were able to do here, if you're familiar with personas, and I'll just drag this up. But we gave them a template, and then they used Post-it notes, and they could then go put in what they thought this particular persona was. So this was, what does a manager in this particular role look like? And so they could add their input in. And that worked out very well, and it happened. We were able to get there very quickly.
Excellent. I wanted to ask you, Suzanne, because obviously you involved people from outside your team. How easy was it for them to, adopt the board and train them on how to input their ideas? Was it easy?
It was very easy. As even in the first kickoff meeting with this group, I took them into the board, and basically I just showed them the plus button and how to do a Post-it note, and I did an example how to type on it, and they were like, okay, got it. And they had it. It was really easy. And the comments that I've heard just in other meetings and even in the training, when I mentioned Klaxoon, one lady said, oh, that is so fun. That is so cool. And so that was her reaction.
Well, I'm glad they enjoyed it. And this template is also obviously a management model template that you located on the library.
Yes, and I mentioned, our team does design thinking. And one of the things that I noticed when I looked at the library is we use the Luma method, Luma book, and I saw a lot of the templates from Luma in the library. And so I was definitely familiar with those and was really happy to see a lot of those.
Yes, and we're actually building up that library. So there's more templates to come along for sure.
Excellent.
Thank you, Suzanne, so much for sharing those two boards and 2 great workshops that you've put together with your teams. I want to make sure that we address some of the questions received. Hélène, could you maybe help us with this?
Yes, sure. So we do have a question. Is there a template for this available in Klaxoon? And do you create a new board each week? or how do you add each week so you keep the history and also share with your team?
So it's very easy. Once you have the template for the weekly meeting, you can actually capture it. And so I capture it, I draw a box around it, and then I just duplicate it, and then I drag it over to for the next week. So I just continue to duplicate the weeks, and I just have a line down, and 1 week's here and 1 week's on the other side of the line, and I do another line, and we just keep scrolling down. So it's very easy to copy 1 week from the other, basically the basic template with the pictures, etc.
Yes, and if I may add on to that, Klaxoon has also some screenshots feature where you can, take a picture of the actual result of a workshop, and we also have some exporting option, exporting of data via Excel and different views for you to really extract and analyze a little bit further what was shared during the workshop. Hélène, I believe we have other questions.
Yes, so the second one comes from Scott. Is it necessary to have a Klaxoon account to participate to these meetings?
They don't have to have a license. What I do is I invite them to the board, and then they have the number to that particular board. And so they can join, because it's cloud-based, they can join that particular board, and anytime that they need to add to that board, they certainly can.
And participants are free with Klaxoon. So you may have a license to launch your own board, but you can invite as many people as you want, and they do not need to have a Klaxoon access.
And we've got a third question. What other Klaxoon features do you use apart from the board?
So I use some of the question features, and when you do a question, you can use a polling question, you can have a brainstorm, I can have a multiple choice. So I use the question features. I've started to play with some of the gamification features within the board as well. I use the drawing tools, and I also I'm starting to use what's called the capsule, and so that captures information.
Thank you. Shall I go for the fourth question? Okay, how can I use more templates in one board? Question from Heinrich.
So the question was, how can they use templates?
More templates in one board, several templates in one board.
You can copy them and put them in, whether you use it from the template library, or you can create your own templates. Or you can take, like, I've PDF documents. The persona was a PDF document that I copied into the board, and I just made it larger, and that's how they could stick their Post-it notes on it.
Yes, and we can think about board as an infinite white space, right? So we can copy, paste anything we would like, and there's an easy tool to copy paste a large amount of information and a whole template if we want, next to another one that we have originally designed.
Okay, we have another question. Can you export the data to other tools such as Microsoft Excel, Word, PowerPoint, etc.?
I've played a little bit with the export tool, especially capturing the pictures, but you can export into other functions. And I'll defer to Emily on, I haven't played with that as much because I usually just use the screen capture.
Yes, but it's true that one of the advantages of using Klaxoon is you can really analyze and report the success of your workshops. So we are able to export the results, of participation, for example, into an Excel database. As I mentioned, we have also different views on board. You can switch to, for example, from the board view to column view and export the list of ideas that were shared, for instance, at the end of the meeting, to easily go through them after a workshop.
Next question, do you use the board to interact with your external customers?
I personally have used it with one of the professional groups that I'm with. So they're colleagues, they're professional colleagues. You can use it with external customers, but I've used it to brainstorm before we were going to a large conference because we were all participating, facilitating a workshop.
And yes, and I remember you said you actually got familiar with Klaxoon at a conference, right? So again, it was used with, people are using it with external customers, and it's a great way to engage with people a little bit more closely.
Very true. And we just got access. I just got the Klaxoon license in late July. So I'm not a long time user, but it's been easy for me to figure out what to do, how to work with it. And, all the capsules that have all the training have been really helpful for me. True.
Actually, did you participate in any of the coaching sessions that we have? I know we have a few, an academy, which explain us a little bit how to get started, right?
Mm-hmm. I did watch several of those videos.
Great.
And maybe the last question, in your opinion, is this weekly ritual relevant for a small team of, for instance, 3 people?
You can use it for as small as or as large as you want to.
Yes. Is that it, Ellen?
Oh, sorry, I was mute. Yes.
No problem. Well, if we are done with the questions, Hélène, it will be awesome if you could show us how to get started on the website with Klaxoon.
Yes, sure. So now I'm sharing with you my screen. Hopefully it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all good, perfect. So you will see that to get started with Klaxoon, it's very easy. You have at your fingertips a library of ready-to-use templates, hundreds of them. And so as a reminder, as we saw previously, templates are ready-to-use models of boards that are inspired by the best practices of our Klaxoon user community. And so you can easily find them from your homepage in your Klaxoon account or from the Klaxoon website. And here I'm on the Klaxoon website, klaxoon.com, under the tab Community. And here you have different ways to navigate through the library. By need, this is the how-to here on the left side, or by type of use, this is a category below the how-to. And note that you can also use the search bar right here. In our case, I will choose the category Team Meeting. Here you go. In which I will find lots of content related to this category. So I'm going to filter to only see the templates. And we're going to use, for the example, the weekly template that we just talked about. So I click on it. And what do I see? I see a text of introduction. I see a video that will explain me the objectives of the template. And then underneath, I see the actual template. And it's going to be like that for every single template. You will see 3 parts. So on the left side, you've got the background information explaining what the template is for with an example to help inspire you. In the middle part, you've got the actual template, your playground that you can adapt and modify to make your own. And on the right side, you've got the instructions step by step to easily use the template. Now it's time to get started. So I click on Use Template. Of course, I can modify the name and change the image if I want. I hit Create. And now the template is mine. It's in my account and I can customize it. Maybe I can add my company's logo, for instance, or my team's pictures. And I can also delete the elements I don't need anymore. Here you go. So as you can see, it's the exact same template as we saw previously. So I'm just going to delete to show you how to do so. It's very easy. You just have to select everything and hit the bin. Finally, when my template is ready, I just have to share it. So I click on Share. And in this pop-up menu, I will have access to different connection options. I just have to follow the instructions. And voila, you can now host your very own session on Klaxoon.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Hélène, for sharing us how to quickly get started. Great. Well, I think we're coming towards the end of the live. We're ending on time. For all of our viewers that are not Klaxoon users yet, we can create a free account on our website, klaxoon.com, which we just saw. And you guys can try out some of the templates that Hélène and Suzanne shared with us today. Suzanne, Hélène, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you on the next live. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day.